Yeah, so Chizzy yo, featuring Kenny I. Let's praise him, let's praise him, praise him.
I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. You make my life so beautiful. I'm gonna praise you all the days of my life. For I'll call you all these names before I proceed. You make my life so beautiful. I'm gonna praise you all the days of my life. For I'll call you all these names before I proceed. Electrical knows you are the light of the world. My season knows you are the great physician. So just cause the prince of peace, but success causes the ultimate God. Electrical knows you are the light of the world. My season knows you are the great physician. So just cause the prince of peace, but success causes the ultimate God. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Yeah, I trust in Jehovah, He is my holder. I fear no blunder, I am a blender and master Jehovah. He will devour, even my devourer. They call me beginner, but God my Shekinah. I'm never rejected, I'm always selected. You can never hold me, my God is a hold. I took my possession, I know no rejection. This is a mission and not competition. I got new invention in all of the nation. I got my permission in Jehovah Rapha. Solve the suspicion and give God the glory. Yeah.
I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. I call you Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, Jesus.